Hey guys, VDeck here, Blueberry Hills. So here we are, March 11th. This video is to the 16th, where we finished the roof completely. I thought the fun part would be to try to get the panels up on the roof, and luckily the tractor was, I could tilt up the forks high enough so I can get the panels up on the garage roof and just heave them up here. You notice it's kind of windy back there, and then in a second you're going to see what happens with this panel. It starts moving down. Just before that, you saw me using the grinder. I actually used it to smoothen out the some of the imperfections in the blocking. They were a little protruding a little high above the 2x6 rafters. But anyway, it worked pretty good. There was only a couple sections yet I had to smoothen out, but I do that through several areas of the roof. Here you see me basically start putting paneling on, and it's a rinse and repeat process. So we had to go buy another 40 sheets. I forget how many panels we're using, but we're using quite a lot. I think we're into the 100 camp, maybe more. So anyway, you can see me slowly but surely going from the top down, because it was too difficult to move all these panels to the bottom and heave them the other way, just from the way the orientation of the panels was. It made sense to start at the top because I could use full sheets and just move my way down. You know, so the roof was kind of, I guess, a little slippery. It's only a 212 pitch, but with the wind and everything, the panels were sliding a little bit, so I was using my running shoes to pull the panel closer to me so I could nail it up. Anyway, it worked pretty good, not a big deal. So here I'm just nailing up the rafters, the zip to the rafters. They're 16-inch on center, of course, and the zip has all these marks on it that you can nail. Very nice straight lines. Made it quite easy. The only thing that's fun is the kickouts. You see that the zip panel kind of hangs over, no real rafter there. And then the overhangs are 21 inches long from the wall, and then you get the two 2x that are going to be the fascia, the nailing plate, and then the fascia on top of that. So it'll be 2 feet from the wall once it's completed, and then of course we'll do metal roofing and stuff. Anyway, a lot of nailing. We've gone through quite a few boxes of nails. Just rattle it out. Don't know if I mentioned in the other video, but I had to go swap one of the guns out. It started jamming like crazy. Would not feed. The roofing nails are 2 inches, and for whatever reason, I don't know if it got scarred on the inside or what, but it would not shoot nails appropriately. No problem. Home Depot just replaced it for me, and off I went. The new gun's working just fine, and the other gun, we have two, working just great. Progress was pretty good on this, so I basically finished up the yellow container roof, and then we sealed it for rain issues. Yay! And then on the 12th, Pop and Jake came over. We started working on the overhangs all along the roof edge. It's a lot easier working on the roof by far when you can stand on the other roof and not be hanging over the edge. So things moved pretty quickly after that point. So doing the kickouts was a lot easier, just standing on the other roof and popping them up. Just have to cut the right size, and off we went. I'm using a 2x4 to level everything out and then snap it all together, moving the blocking as I go, or nailing the blocking as I go. The one thing that I didn't, a couple of small mistakes. I was trying to make the height of the walls exactly in tune with the 2x kickouts, so we can just throw them on top of the wall, nail them to the rafter, and off we go. Well, it turns out here and there we didn't get the walls 100% right, and the rafters, of course, they're at the 212 pitch, but nevertheless we had to do a couple of small shims underneath the kickouts and the blocking, but we managed okay. It was just a little more work. It would have been nice if we didn't have to do that, because it would have just assembly line construction at that point. So while I'm doing the kickouts, Angie and Pop are doing the hurricane hangers on all the overhangs. So the 2x get nailed to the rafter, and then they're putting in the hangers on the wall side, and that's on all the rafters, and all the kickouts get the hangers. We'll be doing that in the garage as well. So the weather was kind of okay, I guess, but we only managed to do this side of the kickouts this day, and then we had a day break, and then on the 14th I come back and finish the other ones. So this is the 14th of March, and here I am doing the same kind of process on the other side of the blue containers. It went pretty good. We had to do smaller shims to get the height of the 2x proper, and then just a rinse and repeat. There's roughly 30 of those things, and it's just a time-consuming process. I have all the blocking pre-done, all the kickouts are pre-cut, and it's just an assembly line at that point. So finishing up the kickouts, it's always fun doing the ones right near the edge. It never feels comfortable standing right by the edge, even if there's wood around you. So still get the, I'm not scared of it, but I don't want to be moving quick and falling over the edge either. So slow go, everything went pretty easy, but it still gives you a little uncomfortable feeling when you're doing the edge work. But regardless, it has to get done, so have to do what you gotta do. Angie was finishing up all the hangers on that side as well as we went in the construction conveyor belt fashion. It's hard to get in a couple of areas, especially where the trusses and stuff. She's using the palm nailer, which works actually extremely well. You can't see quite what she's doing, but anyway, she was having trouble reaching in a couple of spots. The rafter, you can see it pretty close to the wall, and it's a little bit of tighter squeeze in there. So moving on to my favorite part of the day, putting the outside trim on the overhangs. The top section here wasn't too bad, I could reach everything. Going uphill for some reason or other is a lot easier than going downhill. I always have trouble facing down the slope trying to do stuff, but you'll see that later. Anyway, pretty easy going. I bought 20-foot 2x, basically just lining everything up. The long 2x tend to be warped out a little bit, so it was a pain in the butt trying to get all of them lined real nice. So I just used a clamp and some wood to get them flat, and then I nailed the heck out of them. Here you see my trusty grinder again, taking the tops of the blocking off, which kind of protruded past the rafters. This made it easy for the paneling to go on. And here you see me doing I measured from the edge for the first panel so it wouldn't slide down, and mark it, nail it down, and off I went. And the paneling went very, very quickly. So once I start, it goes great. So pretty straightforward. More paneling. I think I put up 6 panels and I called it quits. You can see the sun kind of going down. Anyway, we worked till about well, there's going to be a spring forward this coming weekend, so that's going to help. But in any case, good progress. Here I'm putting the last 6th panel down, and then I trim, and then I call it good for the day. So it's March 15th now. I'm coming back, finishing up the trim on the overhangs. Pretty straightforward. The long ones are a pain in the butt, because then you have to do a center section. Here I am, leveling things out again with the grinder. Works great. It was much better than using the Sawzall, by the way, just FYI. But anyway, and easy to hop around in there. It's getting a little more fun to walk on the rafters and stuff. And here you see me kind of putting the panels on. I go to the bottom side, put them in place, put 1 or 2 nails in the bottom section, and then finish nail all of them. So pretty straightforward. Angie came out to help. I'm gonna trim some of this off. She's gonna mark where the overhang 2x are, so I can nail those. And we make a pretty good play on almost finishing up the entire roof this day. I didn't finish the kickouts on the left side or the bottom side of this roof. I'll do that the following day. We're just trying to get as much done as possible because the weather was supposed to be a little bit rainy and stuff. We want to dry it in as best we could. So if you haven't noticed, we have our hats on. We don't have our hats on. It was cloudy, then not cloudy. So these last few days have been really weird. It's been kind of drizzly, not rainy in the morning. Then it gets sunny, and now you can see that the light's getting kind of funky, kind of a haze. But anyway, we managed just fine. The hats are definitely to keep the sun off your brain. Works pretty good. There we are, just doing trim work, and continue. We're almost done. You can see most of the roof is paneled, and we're going to get another probably 3-4 panels on there, if I'm counting right, maybe 5 or 6, and then we call it good for that day. Yeah, almost done. Another couple panels. So some panels I have to adjust. You can see that the rafters, it's in 4 sections, right? So you can see them kind of misaligning. That's so I can get them on the rafters properly, and nailed to that. Here, this one needed a little bit of persuasion. I set the depth of that saw just deep enough for the panel, and then I trim it off so it'll set properly. The sawdust, by the way, is slippery, so that's something to be aware of when you're up there. So as the sun was going down, Angie was trying to get the tape on for the potential weather coming in. I don't think it rained the next couple of days, but the mist in the mornings is enough to have water dripping off the roof. So we decided to get this as much done as possible, the taping, so the water will run off. And then I do the last paneling. You see one on the very bottom of the corner. I'll finish that up, and then I'll come back the next day to finish all the extra trim and paneling. Angie's taking a break, and I'm putting on the last bottom sections, and then a few minutes later we're going to call it quits and come back the next day. So March 16th, yay! There's the fun part. I always hate doing this part. It's facing downhill. Even when you lay on your belly, I just don't get the comfortable feeling. But anyway, what you see is 2 clamps on either end there. There's 2-bys, of course, underneath, and I put 2 screws in the 2-by so the wouldn't fall over in case it wanted to. The trim piece, that is. So once I started using screws and a screw gun to get this together, it was a lot easier than trying to hang with a big old nail gun off the edge. The trigger's too far away, so I like using the screw gun this time. Doing the same thing on the left-hand side trim. Get them all nice and flat. This 2-by over here was like bowed like crazy, so it seems like the long ones are always tweaked to the nth. Again, I just use wood, clamp, screw it, and move on to the next ones and level them all out. It came out pretty nice on this side, so no worries there. And then I started doing the paneling later on once I finished all this trim work. So here I'm going to put the mud screws in there. I put 2 screws in each 2-by. That cinched it up pretty good. Now I'm putting the other piece on the bottom side. This one wasn't as warped, so it went pretty easy. Just rinse and repeat. I keep saying that, but that's all it is. It's a lot of screws, a lot of nailing, and it's just a slower process. This saw took me several hours actually, because it's all slow go. Then I move over to doing the trim, which is an overhang. It's way long. I'm gonna, of course, cut it back once we nail them in place. I have the trim that I cut off on other stuff, other areas of the paneling. Here, picked them up from the ground, pulled them up here, and then basically nailed them, and then I string line it and cut them off. So yay, didn't want to bore you guys, but here's the last panel on this roof, and we knocked this out. I tape it right after this, and then I move on to the yellow container roof, doing the trim on the bottom section and the top corner, and then basically finish up for the day. I really like the zip system. The panels are supposed to be extremely weatherproof. You put on the tape, they're flashing. It's super sticky. You might have seen it when I was trying to get it off my fingers. It's not easy sometimes. It wants to stick to you. But anyway, it works great. Here's a closer look at I'm doing the paneling on the yellow containers, the very bottom section. Just need a couple 8-foot sections and a small little piece. So here, see what I was doing? I have a 2x underneath there, and the saw is adjusted just to cut through the paneling, just barely. You can see the wind there. It's blowing pretty good. It started drizzling on me while I was trying to finish this up, so I was trying to rush it a little bit. But in any case, pretty easy going. You just string line it, snap it in, move it down to where it's supposed to be, nail the heck out of it, and you're done. Last piece down here, and then I move over to the top corner. I had to use a whole sheet there, and you can see the weather's rolling in. It never really rained that on the 16th, but the weather was looking funky. It drizzled a little bit, and the battery on that saw, I just barely made that cut. I had to switch to the other side, as you saw, so I could actually get it through there. It wanted to bind up, and I was going to run out of battery before I finished. But anyway, good job this day. I was very happy to finish it up. We were supposed to get stormed the next day, so I was glad to get it done. Anyway, appreciate you watching. We'll talk at you later. Ciao.